That let's welcome Deven Choksey, the MD at DRChoksey Finserv, who joins in now. Deven, have you looked at Galaxy surfactants? You heard in the management. What are your views?
Mangalam, I think good morning. Well, I think the both personal care and home care businesses are definitely driving the higher amount of growth prospects for most of the companies. And companies like Galaxy Surfactants, who are basically ancillary suppliers to some of the large FMCG companies. They remain, in a strong position also because of the fact that because of the product innovations that they continue to do. The commentary sounds reasonably optimistic at this point of time, though they are very, very cautious and understandably so because of the impact on the raw material prices due to the global logistic disturbances. Should that be the situation, then probably margin would be something which one will have to look at least for next 1 or 2 quarters till the time the situation settles down. But otherwise, the growth prospects remain bright for the sector as a whole, and the product innovations that they have been carrying out. So certainly interesting proposition at this point of time. Should market give correction due to any reason, this could be considered as an opportunity.
Okay, all right. Hi, Deven. Good morning. Good to see you, Ben. I think the stock of the first couple of hours, one of the stocks is going to be BSE. And our colleague Yash, hit the nail on the head. He was the lone voice out there. He said that, in all probability, NSE is going to get Tuesday, while BSE will move to Thursday. And that's what's happened. That's going to lead to some market share loss as well as some volume loss. But the stock has already corrected 10% from the recent peak. Your view, if BSE starts weakish, what would you do?
Yeah, good morning. Well, it's going to be, $1 million question for every one of us as to how they're going to corner the volume that they want to do through this Thursday expiry now. It's going to be a little bit challenging, of course. But as I understand, though not fully clear about how exactly it will roll out, there seems to be, a very large game plan behind this particular game. And that's where probably, one would remain a little bit more watchful at the same time. Immediately difficult to say how much it is going to impact the volume loss, etc. On the paper, based on the past traded data, one would definitely argue that yes, there is going to be sort of volume loss, but I believe that there should be a strategy in place for BSE, wherein they opted for Thursday expiry. So let's see how exactly they roll it out in times to come. We'll watch it out at this point of time. No buying, of course, because the valuation-wise, everything is fully priced as at this point of time, as I see in the stock.
Absolutely. Deven, the other thing which happened last in the closing hours was pharma stocks all sold off. Sun and Dr. Reddy's, and the index itself took a bit of a dip, down about 2.25% on those on that tariff news again. It's more sentiment at this stage rather than anything. This morning we've got one more sentiment-related news, which is the solar stocks in the US, for example, which have sold off sharply, 35-40% in some cases, on news that the Senate, one of the houses of the Congress in the US is moving a bill to end clean tax credits for solar companies while extending them for geothermal and nuclear, etc. Any thoughts? Two different areas, but I guess you'll see a reaction here on the latter today. Go on.
Yeah, Prashant. Well, pharma, lesser we speak, better it is, because every single day there is a threat on the tariff coming up. And I don't think that beyond the point one should go very seriously on this particular aspect. Largely because of the fact that Indian pharma companies, particularly the top-end Indian pharma companies, are into the specialty generic business, and that's where probably they hold the power to do the margin accretion for from the markets in which they're catering to. US, of course, remains a big market for all of them, but at the same time, the given the kind of strength of the specialty products, I believe that most of the companies are reasonably confident internally, even if the tariff issues are coming in the way. So not completely sure, and at the same time, whether it is a threat or it is going to be getting implemented, one remains to see this particular aspect in detail. Not any particular view at this point of time, largely because of the fact that one is holding on to pharma companies, one should stay invested. Fresh investment, only the corrected price, because everything is in price at this point of time. They are fully matured, I believe, as far as the valuation is concerned.
Got that. And, just before we let you go, Deven, a word on Reliance, because that stock obviously has been an underperformer of its highs, but everyone's playing the upstream crude companies on account of the spike that we've seen in crude oil. Do you think Reliance stands to benefit from it? At these valuations, how does that stock look?
So my understanding is that leave aside this temporary spike, I think in the crude oil prices, and I think the resultant problems that would arise, I think because of the logistic-related situation, because this could be a hotter phenomena as far as I think the situation is concerned. But on the whole, I think the consumer-facing businesses are suggesting that I think they would go separately listed. And should that be the situation, in my view, I think Reliance would remain in a buy position from the market perspective as well. We remain fundamentally strongly convinced about, I think, the growth prospects for each of the consumer-facing businesses. Apart from, I think, the contribution coming in regularly from the new petrochemical segments, I think, in which they are operating. So certainly, I believe that I think one will have to remain a little bit more watchful, of course, on this side, but confident as far as I think the growth prospects are concerned.
All right, very quickly, Deven, I wanted your view on Hindustan Zinc. You know, we have been highlighting that over 500 rupees, you have two parties out there that could possibly take some money off the table, the Government of India or Vedanta. And Vedanta normally times it better. That's precisely what's happened. They're going to be looking to do a large trade. And I believe demand is fairly okay, because they've priced it as well at a sharp discount. What is your view on both these two names? Hindustan Zinc, because the block will get out of the way and then there's a cool-off period. And Vedanta, who will get the money?
We are reasonably, I think, confident about the prospects for both these companies. Hindustan Zinc's both the zinc as well as the silver business, I think they are in a super demand. And I believe that the kind of expansion program that they've launched would probably give them further advantage going forward. So immediately, I think that benefit would be seen only after 2-3 years. But we believe that I think that's going to be a major part. Vedanta, of course, I think getting money in hands definitely I think a good sign. At the same time, and not forgetting that I think these businesses are getting demerged and separately getting listed. So certainly, I think we remain reasonably confident about the growth prospects for Vedanta in general and Hindustan Zinc in particular.